As I always start off, I guess we go to the east. Oh, to the north. No, okay. To the east, to the north, to the west, to the south. Also, above, below, to your center. That shit did it. Oh, oh. All right. Oh, well, these crystals in here are singing. Where's all my shit? It's everywhere. Ah, there we go. uh, the power of argonite will propel you. The power of argonite will prepare you. The power of blue argonite will prepare you. Propel you. Propel you. And you know me, I'm taking over and I'm giving that virgin energy, baby, because that's the way. It's, you know, the thing is, you can hold the atom bomb in your hand, but it's how you use it. That's what life is about. It's how you use it. See, the way it works, the way this thing works is I do all these sounds so you can really hear me. There's so much interference in the world where I feel like if I don't make all these sounds, you ain't even gonna hear me. We won't even speak the same language. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? What I'm trying to put out there is that through these sounds and tones, and if you can vibrate with them, you hear what I'm saying. And I ain't just making noise, because sometimes when the messages come, the messages seem foreign. All right. I don't have a lot of time, so it's kind of going to be rushed a little bit. But for those of you that have never watched me, you know, I don't come on as frequently. I do the other stuff, but I am Big Pontiac, and I am the holder of the sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins, and I am also that one happy galactic daddy-o sitting and welcoming all of you to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota out to the galaxies and beyond our imaginations. And tonight's beer is Kalamazoo Stout. So pop them if you got them. And again, one of my jobs is as a beer taster. I have the glass to prove I am a beer taster. Look at that. It's wintertime, baby. You're supposed to drink something that look like oil during the wintertime. Now, they've been putting me through a lot of emotions. Because where is it? Don't think this is it, but this is it. I be getting that funky cold Medina, baby. Stuff be looking like this kind of stuff here. You know, that golden honey. You know, be getting that. And they want to put you through all these changes of different devices. So I'm back to this device. I did drop the other one and stopped malfunctioning. And this is the Hamilton. No, it's got another name with the boxes around here somewhere. Guess you Hamilton some 2-for-1. Because you can put 2 carts in here or you can put straight wax. So smoke them if you want them. Jamie Foxx says it. You better blow that shit out. So, while I'm hyper, I'm going to break down some of the movie Devotion. I'll break down some of the movie Devotion. If you don't want to spoiler Devotion, you better not watch because I'm breaking it down. I'm only going to break down a little bit because it is like so many other movies. Like you can see parts where Maverick probably used parts of this movie. Matter of fact, you can see, what is it? Flight 251 or some shit where it was Danny Glover and Gene Hackman. And Gene Hackman was on the ground. Remember that one? But anyway, we've seen before where, you know, somebody got to make the crash and then another plane will crash to try to save the person. Anyway, we've seen that before. And if you guys are old enough to remember the movie where Cuban Gooding Jr. played the submarine dude. You remember when the old submarines, they had to put the helmet on and the suit with the steel boots and drop you down and you could just go straight down. It was a lot of that movie, okay? I will say what's happening. What's happening, PJ? How you doing? PJ Allen, what's happening? Lorenzo, what's happening? Well, I'm glad you thought about me. Hey, Lorenzo. Cape. Suppose up here at work fighting over married man. Oh my goodness, that is so much drama, but it's kind of funny too. But thank you, Lorenzo. I smoked some flavor yesterday morning. It put me out slowly. Oh my goodness. My girl took one of my edibles. She was saying last night she was tripping. I told her you do not trip it, but she said she was tripping. OTF, what's happening? Thank you for joining me. Let me say this. This movie is basically about World War II. The CGI was outstanding. I'm going to tell you what, though. One of the most beautiful things, you know, you guys know, I love screenwritings, but I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to rush this movie. I'm not going to hit everything, but let me tell you what this movie did right that we don't see anymore. So the movie is about a pilot named Jesse Brown. Apparently, this is a true story. Jesse Brown is in the Navy. He's not a lieutenant, but he is an ensign. Now, you guys can break down, but I believe an ensign is a light officer. Like, I think an ensign is over a petty officer. So he's not a lieutenant, but he's still flying. He got his flying wings. One interesting thing about his character, I'll say, is the beginning of the movie, you hear him psyching himself out. You don't quite know what it is, but you hear some people talking. So later you learn that Jesse is psyching himself out. And you later learn that Jesse had wrote a book of every nigga insult he had had his whole life. Like every insult they used to put this man down, he wrote a book. Now, I don't know. I guess it's a book about this story. I wonder if all these insults. So he would stand in the mirror and insult himself to kind of hype himself up. However, Super Sly, however, those of you that remember the movie The Rose, remember what Beth Midler did as the Rose, which is supposed to be Janis Joplin. She would stand in front of the mirror and go, show, 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 show. The way to hype herself up is the same thing. So is that original? We don't know. We don't know. However, they are flying, for my pilot guys, they're flying. They start flying the Bobcats, which you remember, they went from Mustangs to the Bobcats to, what did they call the new one? Connoisseurs. Y'all remember the Connoisseurs? Now remember, you can find a connoisseur. They still use that word, but this is the type of plane, a connoisseur. Matter of fact, I want to say the connoisseur is very similar to the word of the Chevy connoisseur. I think that's what it was called, the car. But anyway, so, you know, they got to learn how to land on the aircraft carriers. Of course, he does it. He's a little shaky, but he does it. One thing that's interesting is when they submerge themselves and have to learn how that they can flow water, he said they made him do it 10 times. He said they basically, you could see that they tortured him to try to make him fail the water test so he couldn't become a pilot. Because remember, this has to be, so the premise of the movie is these dudes didn't go to World War II. This is the premise. These dudes didn't go to World War II, and they're kind of like, it's the end of the war. You know, the Cold War ain't really came up, so these dudes ain't got really shit to do. One dude tells you he graduates he said he graduated. He said World War II ended a month before he graduated. And again, if you was in World War II back at that point, you was in the military, you would have got that World War II campaign ribbon, if nothing else. You know, I know Nick Taylor know what I'm talking about. You'd have had the World War II campaign medal, which, you know, they talk about. These people really wasn't in it. What's interesting in my own personal life, had two relatives in Korean War, because that's what the movie is. It's about the Korean War. Had one relative that we don't know how he died. He died in Korea. We really don't know. It's peacetime Korea. But my other uncle, my stepfather's brother, his oldest brother, was quite a bit older than him. This cat's got to be, 84, 85 if he's still alive. But he was in the Korean War, you know, so he graduated like 1948, 1949 from high school, if you understand. So 1950, 51, this nigga gets drafted and he fought in Korea. I remember when I saw the bayonets, I told my girl, I'm like, man, my uncle used to have them type of bayonets. Excellent. It shows excellent fighting of Korea. It really does. But anyway, let me get back to them. Like he said that they put his flight suit on when he jumped in the water and they weighed it down. He said they damn near tried to drown him to make him not, you know, continue to be a pilot. But let me tell you the best part of the movie, the best part of the screenplay. Let me tell you it. The best part of the screenplay is his wife, Daisy. Now, they show the real Daisy at the end of the movie. Let me tell you, this is the most refreshing looking melanated actress in the last 40 years. I mean, this chick don't have a wig on. This chick don't have a weave on. It is American Indian looking woman. She's full figured. She ain't got a whole face with the, you know, face. It is the most net. Her character is Daisy. And when they show the real woman was skinny. Whoever cast this, we love you. Showing the way real people look. Not that wig cap. The way the American Indians were just a little bit easy to make your hair, you know, more manageable. Thank you for that. So he does. Now, I guess, you know, one part of the movie that is really interesting and probably was true. So they were sent there again. What is the Yongnam River? So again, what we're looking at is the Korean War. MacArthur has overjumped. MacArthur has jumped past the North Korean army. He has went into Incheon and he's encircled them motherfuckers. Do you understand? The Korean army just came straight down the country. The North Koreans Motherfucking MacArthur landed behind them and cut them motherfuckers off from their supply line and then encroached them. And then China dropped damn near 400,000 people over the lines once that happened. Instead of motherfucking Truman bombing the fuck out of them open troops, you know, they played with people's lives. And so one thing that his name is Jesse Brown. I guess you can look him up. He's a real person. I guess Jesse, there was a river between North Korea, the Yalo River. I think it's called the Yalo River. And I guess he blew up one of the bridges on the Yalo River. I guess because he did seal the Navy Cross. I guess he did get that. So love story was kind of cool. He didn't get a whole lot of harassment. Again, this is 10 years after Eisenhower integrated the armed forces. Remember, the armed forces was integrated before society was. So, you know, this is within that. And even though it's a beautiful scene where this is interesting, they go to Cannes because of Cold War shit. And all the black sailors like cut into him afterwards and they buy him a Rolex watch. It was a Rolex commercial, but it was cool. It was like all the other black soldiers was probably cooks and shit. You know, as I said before, my grandfather, both of my grandfathers were in World War II. And one was definitely a cook. He was a cook and he got sunk on 2 ships. And we ended up finding a picture of one of the ships. Very cool movie in a lot of ways. CGI was outstanding. So that's all I got to say about that. I want to say something about this. I've been watching, I just caught the Netflix series, Last Chance U, and just kind of, those of you that got to watch Last Chance U on Netflix, I want to mention this and some other shit I came across. But Last Chance U is very much like, a lot of it remind me of the White Shadow. This shit is out in California. It reminds me of the White Shadow. Now, maybe Sly or someone that's in the basketball community make me understand this. Okay. Now, I've said this. I got offered to play junior college ball because I played college football. I'm telling you, through my 20s up to shit, I was 40. I was always at a junior college just playing pickup. And I got offered many times to hoop. Matter of fact, I think UNCG, when I still lived in Greensboro, I was working for the water department, was going to let me walk on. And I wasn't even in school, just hooping in the gym. But anyway. So I know about junior colleges, and what's interesting is junior colleges in Michigan, they play, and there's a national championship you can go to. You know, it's the Junior College Player of the Year. So I don't understand the way California does it. Now, I know California is so big, and they were talking about a city junior college championship and then just a state championship. I don't know about that. When Kalamazoo Valley and Kalamazoo Valley and Kellogg's Community College, so KVCC and KCC, they always went to the NJ, whatever the rest of that shit is called, and they played the national championship. So whatever that is, but a lot of that shit remind me of the White Shadow. A lot of the watching it was the White Shadow kind of shit. So how much was real, we don't know. It was a great Nike commercial, which was a little funny because you see the athletic director wearing Under Armour. It just, I don't know, you can see they put it together quickly. But I found some dude, and those of you in the basketball community can look this up. Another name I'll bring up. But it was a dude I saw on, it's some channel that does stunted growth, and they talk about guys and why guys didn't go further. And he talked about the dude in high school who scored 83 points in a game. He set a record. Now check this out. He scored 83 points in the game, but guess how many his 3-pointers? He hit 24 3-pointers. So, but then the guy, and listen to the story. Then the guy, the night he hits the 3, the night he hits the 83, that night he gets arrested by the police for having weed and beating up his girlfriend. Do you see how they do triggers to take you down? When I heard that story, it reminded me so much of Benji Wilson. I know I talked about Benji Wilson before, and somebody said they was in jail with Benji Wilson's killer, and it was just wrong place at the wrong time. No. There's a new show called Hip Hop. Oh, gosh, I just sent it to Hip Hop Homicide. There's a new show called Hip Hop Homicide. And I sent that, and you was right. It was Stacks Bundles, Sly. You was right. That was the second show. The second show was Stacks Bundles. The first show was Magnolia, whatever her name is. She's in a couple of Kanye songs, but Magnolia something was her name. And this show is to sway you guys from ceremonial ritual killing. That's what this show is. This show is going to try to make you guys look and say, no, it was just some mad rapper that killed these people. That's what this show is about to be. Some mad rapper just kills these people and has nothing to do with ritual. That is the purpose of this show. So don't be fooled by this show. Like they want you to really make us think that people is this thirsty in the world where Pop Smoke, that somebody just saw the address and they needed this chain. It's like niggas see this little bit of shit I got and they need to find out where I live. I mean, come on, that's not real. That is not believable. You are murdering these people and you trying to make excuses. You trying to have what is it? Deniability, but it's not even deniability. You are trying to say this has nothing to do with the blood, but yet we know it's a beast that runs it all. We know Yada Both loves this blood. He loves the attraction. This Babylon shit that this shit is turned into. You know, look, don't think that I don't like any group of people. Who you love is who you love. But it has to be somewhere that it has to be the line drawn, especially when it comes to children. Oh, did y'all hear about the Florida quarterback, Canta? Did y'all hear about the Florida back, Knata? Did y'all hear about his son? He's the number 2 quarterback down in Florida. They got him with child pornography, 3 counts. This shit is on his phone, and his excuse is saying because it's on the internet he didn't know. They got this motherfucker that's the number 2 quarterback at the University of Florida. They got him where showing him having child pornography pictures and videos on his phone. A dude 19, 20 years old. Y'all catch that? Anybody catch that? Hey, Sean, how you doing? Thank you for joining. But did anybody see that about Canta, his son? So yeah, this just shows you, you know. But I bring up Benji Wilson and this other cat. Y'all can look him up in Stunneth Growth. I'm sorry if that's the name of your channel. How these guys, like Benji Wilson was coached out. You know, they knew he was a hothead, and he was literally his girl walked out to school and they knew they knew this nigga's nature. He would follow him. And she took him right into the killer. I mean, you really believe the story in the animation where he just walks and he bumps into a guy and the guy just randomly wants to shoot you if you throw up gang signs. This Smoke Stack, they want you to think because this rapper, he done dissed, he said he was this, he was that. He was so mad he stalked him and just chased him and needed to shoot him down. That's what these stories are. This chick in New Orleans, this chick got hit by 25 bullets. Dude jumped on the car and hit him with each like 20 more bullets. After they done hit him with 20, jumped on the hood and just kept shooting, knowing this who this sister is. Apparently, this nigga owed the key of heroin. He was a mule supposed to get this heroin, bring this heroin in, and he kept it. I need my basketball junkies to do a little work for me. PJ, you might know this cat, but this dude, his name, I know he ain't known, but his nickname is still known. What is Hoops Magazine? Hoops Magazine, that one brother, you see him every now and then. He did a list of the top dudes that was good as Jordan. And number 1 was this nigga from Chicago. I can't think of his name, but I did this dude played in what is it called? The Midnight Leagues. He played in the Midnight Leagues in Chicago. So I knew who this guy was. But this guy's nickname was the Jordan Killer. Do you understand? See, Michael Jordan got that. Michael Jordan had to put in his contract love for the game so he could play rec ball. Because again, since Terry Durod fucked up his knee, they had where you could only and that was shit. Terry Durod got hurt in 82. I think they won it in 81. He was with Boston, I want to say. Then he tore up his knee that summer. So they put it where you couldn't do unsanctioned games. Like that shit in LA, that league, that's sanctioned shit. And so I forget where I'm going with this shit. But Benji Wilson was definitely sacrificed. He was definitely sacrificed. And the Jordan killer. This is this nigga. So you, PJ, if you looked up that hoops, they had the 6 greatest players, and this nigga was called the Jordan killer. Again, I did this guy, as I said, in Midnight League. Where was that at? I want to say we was in one of the projects outdoor courts in the summertime. So that's how long ago. I don't even know if that shit's still there. But this nigga's knowing his nickname later became the Jordan Killer, because when Jordan first went to, I brought all that story up about Terry Durod and tell you is that Jordan had in his contract he could hoop everywhere. Jordan really thought there was no niggas as good as him in Chicago. He ran up against this nigga. He played against this nigga one time. This nigga put that business on him. And this nigga was only 6'3", 6'4". If y'all remember it, this nigga was in prison most of the time. He might still be in prison. But this nigga was known as the Jordan Killer. And every time Jordan would play pickup, if that nigga came to the gym, Jordan wouldn't play against this nigga. So those in Chicago know. Corey Holcomb and them probably should remember this nigga. So any of you basketball heads, I can't think of that nigga name, but that was his nickname because that was one nigga in Chicago that Jordan did not like playing against. Because he played against that nigga one time. He gave, matter of fact, let's tell the whole story. Jordan was playing a pickup game with him and Larry. And Larry's nasty. Larry's on my intramural team. Larry's nasty. Larry got them hops for his age and quicker than Mike. And that nigga went through both of them. So that's how I know that nigga's real. Because Larry would tell the story. Mike won't tell the story. Larry tell the story. That nigga put work on both of them. So he was known from then on. Jordan was, so hoop heads, look that up. It's the Hoop magazine. Got to be in the 90s. But it had the 6 dudes that was good as Jordan that didn't get the opportunities. That's why I say country niggas like Charles Barkley, this nigga talking about dudes shouldn't have had the opportunity. Ain't nothing ever happened to them. Charles Barkley, basketball in fucking Alabama. Fat kid that was a little taller than anybody. No, who would he compete against? Look at Karl Malone. Who the fuck do you think he competed against? Chris Jackson, Karl Malone. No, Chris Jackson's from Mississippi, so. Thank you, Sean. Did you see that? Yeah, it was Scoop Jackson put that thing. Wilson was, yeah, oh yeah. You know, I've been saying that. Yeah, definitely. He was sacrificed for Nick Taylor or Nick Anderson. Definitely sacrificed for Nick Anderson. I would have thought it would have been the other way around. If it was a sacrifice, they would have sacrificed Nick Anderson instead of Benji. But yeah, definitely a sacrifice for Nick Anderson. No doubt about it. And you know what? You know, PJ, I had never thought about this, but the way Nick Anderson had to pay back was missing them free throws. Because Nick Anderson makes them free throws, Houston doesn't win. Do you hear me? Nick Anderson makes free throws, Houston doesn't win. And he missed. Matter of fact, he had 2 attempts to put Houston down. Y'all remember that? Orlando and Houston. Nick Anderson makes his free throws. They win. So that's how Nick Anderson had to pay it back, by blowing them series. Y'all remember that? Yep. That's how Nick Anderson had to pay back. They even sacrificed these regular organic players, didn't sell out the numbers. And I'm going to tell you, man, I went off on Facebook and I watched that Tony Parker shit. Now, if you watch that Tony Parker thing on Netflix, one thing you see is Tony Parker, and I ain't got that much time, so I'm not going to go, but Tony Parker started playing pro ball at 10 or 11 years old in Europe. So that's equal to Tony Parker started playing low-level semi-pro basketball, which is equivalent to about 6th grade. His father was from Chicago, and they show him taking pictures with Jordan. They show the Parker boys taking pictures with Jordan. So you already see that he was in line. His daddy played over in France. I didn't hear a lot about his daddy over the years. Did y'all notice that? I did not hear about this nigga over the years. And now they just bringing the daddy up. Okay. I'm a basketball junkie. I had never heard of Tony Parker's daddy till now. I'm a basketball junkie. But anyway. But I've said before, you see how they raise these people. Charles Barkley once said about butts in the seats, and I know Dewan out in California, he said no. That is why they brought them European players over here, to get European people to get in the seats. That's why Luka is here. That's why Luka started playing pro ball at the same age. The same league that Tony Parker was under was Luka was under. You see, the NBA created all these leagues. Let me get into history. Let me show you why, and what I say is right here. Let me get this. I ain't gonna show you the book, but let me tell you. Let me find this shit. Okay. The Globetrotters make their first European trip to play in 9 countries: Portugal, Switzerland, England, Belgium, Germany, Italy, Morocco, Algeria, and France. These places didn't have pro basketball before then. Which does lead into my next thing, is books. Got this at work, been seeing it. Great reference. So let's go down the Globetrotter ride. The whole book is corny, but they give me history. In 1922, the Wendell Phillips High School heavyweight basketball team wins the Central Division title in Chicago Public High School League. Do you guys understand? Even back then, you talking about what, 200-300 teams? 1926, a group of Wendell Phillips players become part of a traveling team called the Southside Gills, post of the American Legion. 1927, the Southside Gills becomes the Savoy Big Five. Some of the players join the Tybee Brooklyn Globetrotters with manager Abe Saperstein, Jewish faith, Willie Toots Wright, William Kidd Oliver, Bryson Fat Long, Albert Runt Williams, and Andy Washington become the New York Harlem Globetrotters, even though they're everybody from Chicago. That marketing. Depression hits. So something I did not know, from 1929 to 1939, the Globetrotters didn't exist. The NBA didn't either. Harlem Globetrotters in 1939, they began performing ball handling tricks during games. The National NBL, the National Basketball League, is founded in 1937. Goose Tatum joins the Trotters in 41. Bob Crafton becomes the first European to sign with the Trotters. The Basketball Association of America is founded in 1946. Marcus Haynes and Boyd Blue joined the Globetrotters in 46. 49, the Globetrotters beat the Lakers 61-59 in the FIBA championships. That's what it doesn't say. That'd be FIBA ball. Nate Sweetwater joins the Trotters. In 1949, the Basketball Association of America and the Basketball Association, the National Basketball League, merged to create the NBA in 1949. 1950, the start of the movie Go Team Go is started. You can watch that out there. Harlem Globetrotters invited to play the famous Madison Square Garden for the first time. They beat the Boston Celtics 75-60. The Globe in 1950, later that year, they played the World Series of Basketball against the College All-Stars. 1950, the Celtics select Chuck Cooper as a second-round draft point, and the Washington Capitals select 2 brothers, Earl Lloyd and Harold Hunter. Earl Lloyd plays. For some reason, Hunter doesn't play. I'm not sure why. Even though he's offered a contract, doesn't play. Don't know why. Don't remember. Corny book, interesting dates. Go Man Go doesn't come out till 54. You can watch that. Go Man Go. What I didn't know is Meadowlark Lemon joined the Globetrotters and played for damn near 20 years. Meadowlark joined in 54. Curly Neal joined in 63. So, kind of cool book. But that history it shows on the outside, well worth it. Thank you, Siova. Yeah, all connected, grooming the same Manchurian candidate. Thank you, Siova. Okay, yeah. The other book I want to show you is this book. It's funny, I'm trying to think of the damage that was done to. Oh, okay. You see this little corner? This is what was done to this book. You know, I'm a librarian. I watch it when I get done here. But if you love beautiful art, this is a beautiful book by the illustrator, and they tell the story of Negro Leagues. You know, you guys know, y'all have this jersey, the Cubans, different hat, but a Cuban's hat. But you can get this kind of stuff still, you know. And the most famous player is probably Josh Gibson, right here. This story. Thank you. But this is a beautiful book, guys. I mean, really support this brother. I mean, this stuff, you can see this stuff on Pinterest. This is Satchel Paige and Dizzy Dean off Original Picture. So, this is from my homeboy Nick Taylor. Whenever Nick sees, I'm almost done with this book. I've had it for months, but you know me, I'm reading 4 or 5 books at a time. So I'm almost done with this one, Black Detroit. But I said before, I picked up 2 more, Black Detroit and the Rise of the UAW. I picked that one up. And then I have Detroit, I Do Not Mind Dying. Another book I thought would bring a little interest and insight is this book. I heard the California brothers talking about this one. Still at Home. This is when the Dodgers, Walter O'Malley left the Dodgers, and they kind of stole this Mexican land or Mexican neighborhoods from these people in LA and built the Yankee Stadium, or excuse me, the Dodger Stadium. That's what this book is about. So, thought I'd share that. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. How do you think they do the contract? Well, I said before, the contracts have really, what you are signing, especially the high level people, is think without tearing everything up, I can grab this. So give me a second. I want my butt to show. Oh. Okay. Just sat on this. Okay. That wasn't fun. But this is a 3D picture, right? And this is what they once had to sign. You see how he signed in there? See how he signed? That's a lock. This kind of card, when you see them sign this stuff, this is a type of lock. You understand? Used to be this simple to capture souls. See that? And they used to sign over something like this. Well, now this is moved to motion pictures. You know, you are signing, I guess I haven't explained that. You are signing over a moving picture. That's what they sign now. So whatever you are futurely about to do, this is what you're signing. So it's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Sorry about that. Yeah, Dodgers, their fan base is Mexicans mostly. Oh, that was who it is? Billy the Kid Harris. Okay. Was that his name? I was trying hard to remember. Is that his name? Because the cat was in jail. I remember going back and like the cat didn't play. It was just like I was kind of like the rotation because Muggs didn't like to ref in Chicago, especially certain areas. I didn't mind it. So his name it might be Billy. Okay, the Kid Harris. Okay. And I remember this, but I remember the cat, I remember the cat they was talking about because, that was when I was playing and I told the story. I played against some cats when Chicago State won the championship, the NAI championship in 78, 79, maybe. This was the summer of my senior year. And I started going to Chicago playing with, my cousin. My cousin was on the team. His name is Ralph Gant. Matter of fact, they gave me a shirt. It had all the dudes and shit. There was a cat named Tank. This cat smoked squares, but this cat was built like Barkley. I mean, American Indian, super fly hair, not permed, but could hoop. He was like, at that point, I mean, I had hooped against all these college people in Kalamazoo, Detroit, all around these semi-pro cats. Shit, Tank was at a whole new level. I mean, he was the first cat of all these people I played against. He was the first cat that was like a different level from everybody else I'd ever played against. I mean, this guy, and again, this is like a family reunion kind of play, but I was still able to see that this dude had something different. Just fucking around, he had something different. So it was refreshing, and them guys saw that I was okay. But fucking with him, now he brought two other cats. Ralph brought two other cats, and I could stay with them. And so they was like, start coming to Chicago. And that was the first time I saw the collapsibles was in Chicago. They was telling me about that shit. It was like, you had these collapsible rims, easy to dunk on. You just break and get the ball broke over and they go in. And they used to be that easy. The first generations was that easy. If you could just get it on the rim, you could push it in. They collapsed a lot easier. Junk after they owed the shoot on though. But you saw that. But thank you, researcher. Thank you. I'll look him up. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got the pants. Prince of Shame. I definitely do. These is my winter dues. Again, hopefully when the year passes, see you. I got the books. I got all the books over here. But I still got a ton of books to put up. So we've got this big TV stand. We've got to get out of here. So it's still a lot to do. The sectional here. We'll see. So, but yeah, things are coming together. Just wanted to come on. Oh, a little bit more. Got these. These is last year, whatever LeBron's these are, but these is like, man, they got that glove-like stuff in here. Oh my goodness. That I don't normally wear. I think one of my feet is a 13 and a half, so these are 14s. Oh my goodness. I'm still walking around with a broken foot, so pillows. These are pillows. The new LeBron's are $200. Very nice, but I don't know. These are pillows. Trying to think. Got a bunch of winter stuff, but I'll show that. It was snowing. Oh man, we got 8 inches of snow. Yeah, I just moved. So the move, so it was like a 3-house move. I had to move out of one house. I had to move my son into another house and myself in this house. My son has a 3-bedroom apartment, which he's 20 years old and he has a 3-bedroom apartment. I think he just got a roommate. But I had to hook him up with that. And so at the same time, we're both moving out of one, trying to fill 2 other houses. And, shifting stuff around. So am I settled? Not 100% settled, but getting there. So I just wanted to come on and tell you everything is going good. There's always stuff to philosophize about. Gosh, I guess I'll tell the date. So the Mayan date is 13/0/10/1/114. The Hakim, the token date is 1 Imix. The Habab date is 7 Max, and the Lord of the Night is G7. So there's not one calendar, y'all. There's a bunch of different calendars. See, they try to tell you that this time is for 2,000 years when they know it's much more ancient. I don't know, guys. I look at it like this. There's so many ways, so many distractions to take you away from yourself. When you are born, one reason why, and it's a Jewish faith people practice, but circumcision is done to make the child not trust society. That's part of the ritual of circumcision, because it's told that circumcision is only for the Jewish faith people. And so why is this forced upon us as almost a medical needed procedure? As I said before, my son never cried until that was done to him. But it makes children not trust. That's why it's done. And I've talked about that before. And so these are deep psychological wounds they want to put upon you. and the many, many other wounds that each and every one of us go through. And you know, heartbreak. I can't, you know, I've said before many times, heartbreak, each people, each person, it affects differently. I know people have actually died from having their heart broken. Now, I've been extremely disappointed by people. Never been so, you know, and you can be put in a fucked up situation from breaking up, but I've never been just devastated by it. And I don't know if that's my flaw, not loving enough. I just, you know, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. And so, um, when the song goes, your heart don't stand a chance. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes if you're supremely aware, even love, and it's not that you control love, but you feel how the love really is once you get to a certain point. And you read the signs of the rejection, because signs tell you before even you see it. You start seeing signs that tell you things ain't working out. I mean, the world starts telling you that things aren't working out before actually, you know, the reality hits in. I mean, I had two relationships where the exact same thing happened one time. And it was something simple as this. We had it was simple as this, the same sign. We had a broken fertilizer. You know, the thing you spread fertilizer, we had a broken one. At one house, it burnt the fuck out the grass. In the other house, I thought I'd fixed it. I didn't. It burnt the fuck out the grass again. Same sign, same one. But, you know, it was like telling me, this shit ain't, you know, it's not what you think. It's not going to come what you think. So look at the many signs that are around you. And I want to say this. Those of you that are having deja vus, it appears that the deja vus are a type of victories. So my spiritual people out there, if you are seeing the deja vus and you're catching this more and more, they're nothing. I used to always say, what has been changed? It is a deja vu. I guess it's kind of like a victory here. Like, you know, when you're in the video games and you hit the gold coin, I think deja vus is that. For some reason, you have done your damn, what do we want to call it? You vibrate. You know, you're spiraling enough. Your vibration is so high where this thing just sees that you are not fooled by it, and it rewards you, which is the craziest thing. That's why it's wrong to fight the power. You don't want to fight the power. Fuck fighting this thing. This thing loves to fight. It loves to fight. So why fight it? It loves to fight, and it anticipates the feedback from the fighting. I'll say this, and I gave Sly hell, and I gave Quantum of Science hell, but Quantum of Science said basically the same thing Sly said, but I'll break it down slightly different. So when they came out with the medicine, you know, wanted to put a certain medicine in certain people, they knew that certain people would push back and not want to do it. There was this probably when you do a risk assessment. When you do a risk assessment, you already know that, you know, there's a certain part of it ain't going to work. It ain't going to do it. And so it's interesting. And I'll say this for both of y'all, where I call foul on both of y'all. This was probably, I was wrong because I didn't realize it was a risk assessment. So that's why I was wrong to both of y'all. Because y'all both kind of straddled the government fence. But I was wrong in not seeing that it was a risk assessment. And I'm big enough to say that. So I'll say that to both of you. You know, me, I had to ask some shit to Sly earlier. So, you know, there's no shade. I'm man enough to say, and I made a mistake. I made a mistake. So I didn't see that. Quantum broke it down. I agree. It was a risk assessment. So that's still what it is. So, but I'll say he's right. It's probably like terrorism, a 20-year cycle. And then they're going to come up with something new. I'll agree with that. So, but that's what being a man is, you know. And I ain't mad at niggas. You know, if shit don't work out with niggas, I don't be mad at motherfuckers. Man, I mean, golly. Like, let me tell you something. I told y'all, and I don't like telling stories, but I'm going to tell you, you know, sometimes you do shit you regret. So I have a teammate, I told y'all this, that was, you know, going through it. This nigga was about to have either... I don't know if he was having some kind of heart surgery, definitely. So I saw the nigga in ICU. And I want to say, soon as I left, I regretted seeing him. Now, my job as a healer, I understand, but I don't know. It was just like I had the worst feeling about this guy. And do you know that the guy has tried to guilt me for the past, since Thanksgiving? I told the dude, like, look, I can't do anything for Thanksgiving. Get with me. You know, this guy has hounded me from supposedly having heart surgery in a bed. Like, if I don't get him some clay, it's the end of the world. Do you understand? This nigga's in the hospital. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. He's in the hospital. This nigga is guilting me about some fucking clay. Do you understand? Like, if I don't get him this clay, that's the end of the world. When in fact, the clay is closer to him than it is to me. Now, if I can find where the clay is on the internet, I'm sure him and his doctors could find it. But I'll say this, when I left seeing my teammate, I regretted it. I didn't even know what it was, but now I see it. And it's like, I don't know. It's just some people that is there to just leech off people. And it's funny that he's dying the way he's dying. And he ain't dead yet, but it's like whatever is slowly killing him. Again, bad habit and all that. But so just can't fuck with that energy, y'all. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Oh man, let me show you like coats and stuff. You know, this time of year, coats and stuff. It's like, again, we went to the movies tonight, and we have a big ghetto theater that's behind us. The nice theater, like dude was like, I can go give you one beer. The bar is upstairs where I go to the bar all, but I'm like, okay. Then he gave me a bracelet like I was in the bar. Like, I don't look young. Like, if they raided the place and said, did you sell alcohol to everybody in the place? They would not doubt me. so, so do you understand? I can't go too long. Okay, hour, I would go a little longer. So that's what's been going on. And just working on myself, you know, just because I can't bring anything without working on myself. So, and I like to come to everybody this way and just let you know I'm okay. And the way to be in life is you always are standing on the verge of getting it all. I mean, that's really what it is. You're always that excited about life that, you know, what is next? What can I do next to make it all good for me? What's next for me? And no matter how old you are, that should be. It's like, I don't read books because I want more thirst. I read books just because I like reading. I like the solitude. I like the way it works with my imagination. That's why I like reading. And of course, I love to research. But just reading in general, I just love to read. I love the solitude of reading. And that's why where I work, I see that the books are fighting back. I mean, the books have the schools. No matter what they do, they can't take books out of schools. And that's a war. You've got to understand that you know, the mind is the computer system. The books is the old system. And these motherfuckers is like this at each other. Do you understand? And the books ain't went anywhere. Remember, they tried to tell you the Nazis was burning books, but they even go back further. They try to tell you the Christian burned down the Library of Alexandria, that at one point supposedly had all the information of the world before and up to that period and in the future. It's one thing Elijah Muhammad mentioned. He got a little bit of stuff because he mentions that. He mentions that Library of Alexandria. He was the first person I personally heard say this, where he said the Library of Alexander had all the information of the past and all as well as the future. I heard Elijah Muhammad say that in Chicago. And Corey Holcomb, if you're old enough, you might have been there too. Well, I wasn't very old myself. You'd have been about, I think he's about 10 years younger than me. So I was probably 18 when I heard that. And that's something that was real. That kind of information existed. That's why this Nostradamus and that guy, Edgar Lacey, the guy in Ohio, they got some of this stuff. They got some of this stuff. They released it under their names, but they got some of this stuff. And even What you call them, Jody? The powers that play. Even the powers that play know. They have these papers, and they think that the papers are supposed to go exactly the way it was written. And that's why, they work with the machines, and the machine tries to enforce the way it goes. I mean, like Sly was talking about the machine policing. Of course, the machine wants to police. They told you RoboCop years ago. They just told you the aim of RoboCop, not how they're going to RoboCop you, and the different tactics that they want to use on the public. Think of an example of the riots in Minneapolis. If they could have just brought out the robot dogs. Because at one point, there were 10,000 people in the street, if not more. If not more. At one point, the movement was 10,000 deep going from neighborhood to neighborhood. And they were outmanned. I mean, as much as the army of the Minneapolis Police Department, NDP, whatever it's called, and then the Park Police, they were outmanned. And that's why, again, they probably were allowed to burn down Precinct 3, which is in the hood, where they still don't police. What, we going on 3 years later? 2.5 years later, they still don't police in those areas. Still the same thing. Same corruption and all that. So, well, thank you, OTF. No, I did not see the Pistons game. I don't have I probably should get the NBA package. I don't have it right now. I probably should get it. I know I got to get Bally's. I might just, you know what? I might just get the NBA package instead of just getting the Bally's package. But on the other hand, the Bally package has my damn Wild. I haven't seen a Wild game. I'm like, when I get off camera, I'm just in the corner just with my Wild jersey, like missing the games. Like, oh, I'm not watching every Wild. So I'm Jones in hockey. I think we're going to go. Thinking hard about going to the game this Sunday. I think we got the Jets Sunday here, and then the Patriots Christmas Eve. No, the Giants Christmas Eve. So thinking about going to that game. Not sure, but kind of thinking about it. Sunday or Christmas Eve. Because the Christmas Eve is a day game. This game Sunday's a day game too. So thinking about going to the game, enjoying. I love the pro sports. So, but when I go to a hockey game, I'll definitely do some, because we'll probably go over there. Because the way people do is you go over there and they got good food over by. So you go park, because the Science Museum and shit is all over there too, where I saw King Tut and shit. And when I'll tell you, I've told this story before. When I saw the statue of Atenaken, the statue paralyzed me. And so I'm not a Pan-African by any means. I've got a little statue that I brought back. After that experience, I got a little statue up there of Atenaken. But that shit paralyzed me. I mean, I've never been around. Nope. I haven't been around anything that powerful. Yeah. That was the most powerful, structure, statue I'd ever been around. There's nothing since or before ever did or turned me on. Whatever download, whatever you want to call it, nothing else has ever done that as much as that thing did. And that came from Africa, from Egypt. That thing hit me like, whoa. It was like I couldn't even be in the room with the thing. I mean, literally for probably 50 seconds to a minute, I was literally, I was paralyzed. I couldn't move for it felt like an eternity, but just when I first looked into it and just connected with it, I was paralyzed for a minute or two. I mean, I just stood there. I couldn't move. And I think, somebody hit me. My daughter or my mother's daughter might have hit me and broke me out of it. But that shit hit me hard. That was probably the strongest thing I've like that. I've never come across anything else like that. So, yeah, some type of download. But that felt good. I still didn't bring the other book I wanted to bring up here to prove another point, but I didn't bring it up here. So, really quite nothing. I've been looking to, when they bring this, my son says he doesn't have this one, so I've got a good copy and I've got this copy, but this is, another kind of anime. They call these mangas. And again, this is a rejected copy. See how This is bent, so, but I got a better copy for him. So MAGA. Yeah. So I'll tell a lot of ways to look at it. So so if I'm not mistaken, maybe the name is a little off, my African remembering, but remember King Tut's father was Akhenaten, and Akhenaten left Memphis maybe, and created his own. I'm losing it as I'm trying to remember, but he created his own kingdom named Amaran maybe, and I think this statue was there. Because remember, he believed that he was a sun worshiper, a little bit like that. But he was the first to kind of switch from the mother god, which was, Hathor was the oldest god there. And, the Mu goddess from America is, Hathor's copy from Mu. So this statue, I believe, was there. And it's a marveling feat, engineering feat, the way he built this city. But anyway, I think this statue comes from there, of him. It's one of gosh, is it right here? I'll show you the statue. Let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can move and not tear up stuff. I think I can show the statue. Where's the book? I just brought it back in here. Is it over there? It's not there. I don't know. Where is it? It's in my bathroom. Don't see it. Or I would show a picture of it. Oh, I do got one more book. I'm curious kind of mug. And this is a English Haitian Creole dictionary. Got this one, and they say 90% of damage most likely happened en route. So, got this one. Mental illness. How do I get out of depression? I'm not really a doctor, I'm not really a doctor. I can say like this: depression can become like a dark hole. What's the joke? What's his name? Buffalo. What's his name? Buffalo, where he's down and he wants the lotion in the hole. Depression is almost like that. Like you become in a dark hole. I guess you could almost look as like you look at Plato, and the way he describes being in the cave. Depression is almost like that, where you don't even look at the light at all. You just see the black, the blackness, and nothing else. And it's hard to get out of that kind of funk. And there ain't one way to tell you how to get out of it. But, and as corny as this sounds, one of the things that you do, if there's a life and death situation and you have the glimmer that you can survive, you think of hope. And through hope, you could try to fight it, because that's really the way. If you think you're going to die, but you think you can survive of some thought, that's hope. And so when that gloom hits you, you have to find what hope there is. And again, I am not a clinical person, and that is my goal for this year. Is I am going, next fall, I hope to be joining the University of Minnesota and getting my degree in psychology. If the drive is not too much, but if I can handle all that and hustle my way, I'm going to try to get a degree there, because I can take classes for $10 a credit hour. So I can probably get a full load of classes for a couple $100. I can, without any loans, graduate from college in probably a year and a half with all my other college credits. So then I can professionally give you my opinion. But I tell you what, I first dealt with depression in high school. We had these times where it snowed. Like in 1976, 77, we got unbearable snow. I mean, we got 5 feet of snow. I remember getting up. I don't know why I got up, but I knew the storm was coming, so I kind of stayed up all night watching that shit. And I remember opening the garage door and seeing the snow and like, wow. Then putting it down. And then I went in the house to do something, and my stepdad got up, and he was getting ready to get up for work. And he's like, "Why are you up?" I'm like, "Where are you gonna go?" He's like, "I'm getting ready for work." I'm like, "You can't go to work." He's like, "What are you talking about? I can. I know I can go to work." Like, you can't go to work. And he put on his robe or pajamas, whatever. We walked out to the garage. I said, "Look," I said, "Open the garage door." He opened that shit up, and he saw the shit high as us. He's like, "I guess I ain't going." Like, no. So, but seeing that, and it was periods where we didn't, almost like 2 years in a row, we didn't go to school for damn near 2 weeks. Like, we went to school off a week, went to school off another week. And just to see that stuff, and you can't really do nothing, the driving is crazy. It was depressing. That was the first time I dealt with depression. Uh, hmm. Yep. He says, when your life comes in danger, realize you want to live. That's when you understand what hope is. Can't say it any better than that. And so I can't tell you, what makes, how to get out of a funk, because it's many different things. It's good that you realize you're in a funk. That's the first thing, is to realize that you're in a funk. And then the second thing is, how to get out of it. That's the next step, is realize, how do you get out of it? And there's a lot of different ways. No one's the same. So it's not the same. Excuse me. It's not the same for everybody. It's gonna be a little different. So I can't say who, what, and where for each. But find you a little light, and where you find the light, go from there. It's the best I could tell you. And I don't mean, they say go into the light, not that kind of thing, but just the light of the spark of I guess, again, hope comes in there. The spark of hope, the spark of maybe. And I would add that, the spark of maybe too. If you look at that, you may not want to say hope, but you could look at the spark of maybe. Maybe if this kind of thing, because maybe can be used in a positive way too. It's not necessarily just something you're reaching for. It's like like I said, when I lost my ring, my first thought was, fuck it, I got to go get another one. Whatever the witches did to take my ring out of that pumpkin, whatever porthole I gave gold to, my first thought was, fuck it, I'll go get another one. You understand? I don't ponder over that shit. I don't sit there and just, no, fuck it. It's, whatever. It's like looking for shit when you got something to do. Fuck that shit. Just go do whatever. Grab something and, put it together. Looking for shit. Put your shit the same place every day. That'll help you when you get old. Oh, let me say this. We always got to study about dementia and Alzheimer's. Y'all keep this. And I know as a man, this is going to be some fucked up shit I'm going to tell you, but this is probably right. So apparently, do not, okay, so I'm going to say this right so you can see me. Do not pull out your nose hairs. Do not physically pull them out. Trim them. Because apparently what they say happens is, if you pull out your nose hairs, the bacteria that causes dementia, Alzheimer's, has a greater way of coming into you. So whatever way that bacteria is created, if you pull these out, this is like a way to get up in there, to start turning shit off. So instead, apparently, just trim them. But don't just pull them, or take tweezers and pull them. Trim them. And keep, apparently it's good to have nose hairs. I know the shit looks gross. I've seen people with afros out their noses. But apparently, if you pull them out, it's harmful to you when you get old. It's a lot of things you got to do, because this thing is, Nas has a song that says, once a man, twice a child. That's absolutely right. Listen to that song, because that's for real. It's like my cousin is Narada Walden. I told the story of his daddy. His daddy's one of the meanest motherfuckers I was ever around. I mean, you talking about a nigga that ran his family with an iron fist? That was him. Narada ran away like 15. He graduated from high school, but I know that nigga got away from him. And All his children successful, 6, 7 children, all successful, one child, one Grammys. But they don't fuck with him like that because, he's alone now. Because sometimes we think that being young, we can't be good people. And just because you're young, and I mean like 20s, 30s, 40s, we think that our youngness and, the Adonis in us, that we can't be good people. And we can. Or just be honest as you go about your business. I guess that's the best way, Just be honest about going about your business. If people can deal with what you propose to them, if they can deal with it, then hey, let it go, right? Live with it. What they say, live and let die. That does not serve you should die. that does not serve you should die around you. It doesn't serve you good. You're good. Let it die around you. That's how you should look at it. I'm gonna say, if it doesn't turn you on, step back and leave it alone. Oh, I'm full of it tonight. I did want to show this. I am like Albert Einstein in one kind of way. I am into wearing fine clothes. I don't like wearing fucking tux anymore. I fucking hate wearing Mason suits. Suits is George Washington. I hate that. I look very good in suits, but that's some Mason ass shit. That is Mason as you get. Suit is George Washington. So you wear a suit and tie, you copying them. But anyway, the greatest thing the Jewish faith people have ever done is this right here. That is, yeah, right there. Levi Strauss, we love you, and we love you for creating 505s. I don't have any other type of pants, but 505s. I do have a couple Dockers. Got to go to a funeral too. Don't really like 505s, but you see this? Anywhere I go, I see these under $70. I buy them. Marshalls, TJ Maxx, 505s under $70. I buy them. This is all I wear. Sweats. What does that say? 505s. There's no other jean. I've been wearing 505s. Let me tell you how far back I go with 505s. For those of you in the Midwest, you remember Mr. B's? Mr. B's was supposed to be, Marshalls is supposed to be seconds. One girl was trying to tell me that shit. I'm like, chick, the shit is overruns. The shit is, anyway. Mr. B's, for those of you from the Midwest, was supposed to be, it was the defects, something wrong with the jeans. But guess what they had a lot of? Levi 505s. So one year, I don't know, my stepfather and my father, they was on some bullshit and didn't really buy me no clothes. So my stepfather took me to Mr. B's and he bought me 7 pairs of 505s. And you know what? I've wore 505s ever since. So the moral of the story is, thank you, Jewish faith people, for creating 505s. Levi, thank you. We love 505s. Thank you, Dread. B. Brown. I will answer these. No, definitely not. 501s are better. No, they don't. They're too tight in the crotch. 501s are too tight in the crotch. Too tight in the crotch. Nope. 505s. No, definitely not a therapist. Is the beast bigger than what we think? I mean, I was saying a lot of ways, and god damn, this thing is sticking the hell out of me. Fuck. I didn't even know why I stuck it in there. Anyway. I'll say this, Quantum of Science and Bomber, they don't want to say the name. The names is 2 names. And I think part of this system wants to kill or wants to talk shit about Sophia. So if you look at Sophia, if you look at like two feminine kind of energies that was dominant, you looked at the Hathor, which goes back to the way the people in the Americas, the Omen practice. You looked at Mu, and then you looked at the way that they practiced Sophia, because to the Europeans, Sophia was the dominant female energy, if you understand. And see, through them, they say that Sophia created this thing outside of herself that could see. She put him like in a bubble where the ones around her couldn't see it. He was in the mist. Some could even say he was the blinding light. Anytime they would try to go reach where he was, they would just get like this light, bright ass light looking at me. And yet he was above earth. And he was in the way they describe it is like he was a titan. Remember how the Titans was in Olympus and they could see what the fuck the earthlings was doing? And this motherfucker could supposedly see that they could not create what he could create. And so if you look at the fall of Sophia and you look at the fall of Yadaboa, they fall together. It's not like one of them fall, they both fall together. She has to come outside and be on her own for hiding something from the gods. And they try to tell you, this thing grows grotesque. They tell you the thing is a shapeshifter. That's what they tell you. He's a shapeshifter. And so that side of the divine feminine, the Catholic Church was right to kind of kill. Because that's all it is. Father, Son, Holy Ghost is the, Sophia. Or what was the book called? God's Wife. But on the other hand, Mu didn't need none of that. You study them people that's in America. And look at what they studied. And look at what they was in touch with. It wasn't the same stuff. Yeah. And that goes back to why I feel so passionate about the sacred ball game and the corruption. This was meant for us. I mean, look at and us hooping and us being in sports and entertainment. We've been social engineered to do this as well. I mean, when they created these churches and these churches singing and pianos, they made sure these churches had pianos and gospel. So this was a government program for entertainment, if you understand how part of it started. And you hear the stories time and time again. I got my singing or playing instruments in the church. And we know that the church is the arm of the government. That's why you don't believe Malcolm X worked for the government. Well, Elijah Muhammad was getting tax-free status. So is Malcolm. Look it up. And so we've been driven to entertainment. I was driven to play football. My first toys was a football and a football helmet. I can't tell you how old I was when I had both because it was always there. So I had to got them fairly young. My first helmet and my first football. My first helmet was a Wilson. I've seen copies of it on Pinterest. It was a blue helmet with a white stripe down the side with a plastic face mask. With the what is that shit called? That shit lasted a long time. The webbing. It had the webbing inside the helmet. It had like a big pad in the middle and just webbing. That was it. I forget what that webbing was called, but that was it. That was my first helmet. I must have got that as a baby, one at the earliest, and because I had it at 2. So this is, engineering. And those of you that hoop, look at your pictures when you're a little boy. How many of y'all see pictures that, y'all hooping and stuff? You have a ball. It's engineering. And our parents don't even know. Some do. Like one thing, if you got to see this Last Chance U, the basketball, you seen the parents trying to live through the children. Hand their children gladly over to the beast. There was a dude named CJ, which you obviously could see that he had great physical talent, but his mind this was a cat that was supposed to be 19. He had a mind of probably a 13-year-old. Just listen to him talk. But then, like, if you looked at the people where the one could get along and just follow compared to the one that had thought. The older dude had thought. Was like, I ain't putting up with this bullshit. And everybody ain't the same. That was the real thing. I like that part of that. Everybody ain't the same, so you can't treat everybody the same. That's absolutely right. But one thing that you noticed was all of them was elite AAU. They made that quite clear. Do you know how elite everybody can be in AAU? You can play football and go to college to play football, but all summer you could hoop. High level AAU. So it's quite an industry. What do you think about Kanye's ATM? We love Levi's. Kanye overrated. I don't know. ATM, them taking his money. Is that what you mean? Or is it new music? I don't know. Them taking away his money. I mean, that's a distraction. You know, anything about him is a distraction. It's taking you away from yourself. I mean, what does it mean to you? You know, what do I always say? Listen to these stories and think, what does this mean to me? And that tells you the story. And it don't mean shit to you. You know? That's what you got to look at. When you bring in information, you know, what does it mean to me? That's how you got to look at the world. What does the world mean to, you know, what does this story mean to me? Anything that takes energy away from you, it ain't good bringing it in. You understand? It's all right. So if you listen to these stories, you know, fuck them. Fuck them all. That's what I say. Fuck all these stories about all these entertainers. Fuck who get killed. That's on them. That's on them. You know, they knew. They knew when they signed this stuff, the possibilities. I mean, if you profess being a gangster, be a gangster all the time for real. I mean, think about it. Biggie talked all this stuff, and you know, you sitting there at a light, you know, and a real gangster would be pulling shit out, waiting like, God damn, I'm sitting here at this light and already have your gun in your lap just because you's a nigga and you're drunk and you got your gun in your lap. And so somebody's pulled up beside you, you already got your gun and you shoot out the window first. That's what some would do. But others be, you know, caught. Like the way they assassinated this young man. I talked about this before. The same way they assassinated the one young man. When these people touch down in these places, Offset is the best example I can give you. The moment he was talked into going there, executive action is a better example than JFK. How they talk about the wheels of murder going. That's why look up executive action, because the movie JFK is basically a lot around executive action by Mark Lane, the greatest Kennedy explorer, because the Kennedy story is all fake story anyway, but he helps with the fake. But he talks about the killers. And then you hear it in JFK with the narration. The moment Offset was at where he was, the killers had their eye where they wanted to kill him. In football, I tell my receivers, when you step on the field, you know you got to do an 18-yard comeback. Look at the field and visualize where you got to come back. This is how these killers are. It's exactly the same thing. They look at where they go kill these people. And when you killing a person close up, you seeing ain't no threat around you, and you just got a free shot at this dude. It's just a matter of they want the certain time of death. They want you to shoot him at the certain time, so the time of death is when they can say, when they can take the blood. This is how they do these people. It is that intense. And these people have no clue. You got these niggas riding around the country talking about every day I'm lit, every day I lit. I ain't got to think of shit because and you know, these killers is around them. Remember the Passion of Christ he's carrying? You know, he's carrying the Christ and, you know, the devil is looking, can he carry it all the way? These killers look at you like that. They walking, watching you. When I can kill you. They may not kill you on the day where they just looking to see how you move. That's how they kill people. They look to see how you move. They've been doing this the way that Pontiac got killed. Tecumseh got killed in battle. Pontiac got killed in peacetime. They tell you that a nigga was mad from the wars. Dude stabbed Pontiac in the back. The namesake I use right now. He didn't get killed in wartime. This nigga was supposedly mad at him. Same thing they do nowadays, huh? Nigga just stab you in the back, murder you for no reason. Can you imagine back in them times, you might have a John Bowie knife and you just walking around and ain't nobody fuck with you in 10 years and it's out the blue a nigga just stab you. Well, you see how they've always done this kind of thing. And quantum science says something I agree with. This beast is so patient. It is the most patient. That if you want to say what them peoples do, them peoples is patient. They pry on us because we ain't patient. We are not patient people. We are people that, we want to look at the shiny shit. That's what the Europeans notice. We like shiny shit, and they ain't never took that away. We used to fight each other over shiny bullshit. To the Europeans, worthless glass. To us, goddamn shiny shit. They are keeping low vibrational race issues in front of us. It's where ESPN never seen it. That's right. I don't know about that, Rudy. But that's wow. Wow. Not surprised about that. Nothing surprises me about this thing. So, and remember, right now with any kind of fame, they want to they want to say any of this fame, they can come after you. They want to say this little bit thing right here. If you had a video that did well, Oh my goodness. I'm gonna tell you. What is his name? Hey, PJ, what is the nigga name? He was saying Zach should suck his dick, and all that shit. And I listened to this shit the other day, whatever that nigga's name is. If I tell a nigga on here that shit, again, I don't talk like this because to me that's kind of gay shit. To ask another man to do that, to me, is a little bit, I ain't fucking with that. But anyway, you was all on his swingings. You was all on it. Well, I met him and the way it made me feel, because you met the nigga. You sound like when that dude from whatever rapper had Zach all giddy. You sound giddy because you met that nigga. The nigga came at you foul and because you met him. Derek, the same way in Wisconsin. Yeah. That ain't the only way. In some ways, I think that thing is misleading with Zach. And I'll say this is finally he's what I've been saying all along. He finally got to say more about them peoples. And I know that shit hurt him that he got to talk about them peoples. Because what have I been saying, y'all? He don't talk about them peoples. He just says it's just the Jesuits. They try to not involve. But now when Kanye puts it back out there, it is them peoples. Do you understand? Now, so that when you look at a trumpet, the motherfucker play different tunes. First, there was them peoples with him. Again, I go back with him 17, maybe even 16. Probably summer 16. He's beating the trumpet of them peoples. Then all of a sudden, it's the Jesuits. Nothing else. But all of a sudden, he's, wait a minute. No, it is them peoples and the Jesuits. Nigga like a salmon. You took the fish out of water and motherfuckers flapping around. Y'all look at my work from the other channel to now. Pretty much the same fly guy. So nigga, and I'm gonna say this. All you European niggas, we gonna call you European niggas. Y'all wanna be niggas, we gonna start calling you European niggas. Okay? Y'all wanna be niggas so bad. You, my family members that are European through my wife, European niggas. We would say bitches, European bitches, niggas, bitch niggas. No, I think it would be nigga bitches. We calling y'all European niggas. So that's gotta, y'all want to be niggas, y'all European niggas. So that's what we're gonna start calling you. Y'all want to be that? Because there's a lot of y'all poor, a lot of Europeans don't have money, and then peoples don't like poor people. That's the trick. See, that's what created after the Civil War, Reconstruction. So Reconstruction, they went to war against us, and the government, the state governments allowed it. And slavery did not really end until 1960. Thank you, Dane Calloway, for copying my work. I've been saying this for since 14. Slavery did not end until the 60s. So Reconstruction, the war on the melanated people was from like the 1890s to the 1960s. And you see the way they killed people. If they killed Emmett Till, me and Sly did a show on that. It's very unlikely. But they did kill people. The lynching people, again, they used propaganda. So they would send these pictures of people being lynched. Wasn't just us. They was lynching them peoples. They was lynching Italians, Lithuanians. They was lynching these poor Europeans left and right if they didn't fit along. Look up lynch postcards from Italians. You find a large number, but you find a large number of them peoples. Remember the Mormon, John Smith, I think he was lynched. If I remember right, they broke the jail down, got him. But a lot of the lynching was propaganda because you can do a couple pictures and you can control. I mean, if you look at Reconstruction, Mississippi, Alabama, the people should have just kept fighting. South Carolina should have too. They should have just kept fighting until the last one died. It was better than what they faced the next 100 years. Because what they faced is youth being locked up in massive numbers and slavery continuing for basically another 60 years, 70 years. Apartheid, worse than apartheid, because it was true slavery. That's why, you know, my girl gets caught up in slavery. It ain't that shit. Slavery wasn't bad, is that? Or that goofy nigga named White, whatever the goofy nigga name, when he said that he had people that fought on the Confederate side, yeah, he's right. I found information where the first battle, which is called the Battle of Bull Run, all black Confederate troops fought these motherfuckers. You understand? It's called Bull Room 1, or what's the other name? Yeah, Bull Run. The first Battle of Bull Run. Where Jeb Stuart fucked them up with his cavalry. They Northerners didn't have nothing to match. Jeb Stuart came in, wiped their asses out with his cavalry. Them motherfuckers in the buggies is just watching. They thought it would just be a spectator day. They run it back to D.C. Makes you wonder why they didn't just go take D.C. then. So niggas fought them from the very beginning. And the ones you can see is the ones that are left that they show pictures of is look up the Mexican, or excuse me, look up the Texan. Texas sent a lot of niggas up this way. Look at them generals. And then you look up the Northerners. See all these Europeans from Europe. And them peoples. Them peoples back both sides. That's what they do. Look up the movie Sarajevo. And then look up Executive Action and JFK. And see how all those movies have the same theme. Even look up the stories about Lincoln. I mean, all these killings of national leaders are the same story. So they can't be real. None of them. I'm watching Sarajevo, you know, 70, 60 some years after JFK is killed. And it's the same goddamn story. I've got you talking about these people over in another country is telling this story that about how World War I was created. And it's the same story of when JFK and Lincoln got killed. Almost identical circumstance for people that study this stuff. How is this? I'm gonna close here. You know, said this before. Dance or clap every day for 10 minutes. It will help you live longer. I don't give a fuck what you believe. It's a fact. You have to do this every day. I don't care if you work out, don't work out, dance or clap for 10 minutes. It will help you live longer. That's all I can give you. I can't give you any more other than that. If you believe it, that is on you. You ain't got to believe it. If you practice it, you'll see. Plus, it helps you raise your vibration. That's the whole part of it. Dancing, this movement, this energy that was given to us as melanated people, the art of movement and expression is also a spiritual kind of thing. Why do you think the Christians take advantage of the spiritual dancing? Where my friends at? That's what it reminds me of. Go to the party and be like, where my friends at? Where my friends at? Where my friends at? That's what that shit reminds me of. Where my friends at? Where my friends at? Where my friends at? Here, 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 here. Nick Taylor know about that. I don't know. I don't know if he fucked with house parties like I used to fuck with house parties. He knew the nigga. I don't know if he was as street as I was, but niggas used to come to parties doing that shit. I didn't mean to say. I'm just saying. I don't know if he would go to parties like that. Not street as I was, but parties like that. I don't know. Okay. Well, thank you for joining you. Voorhees the Native, thank you for joining. Oh man, up here, what I want to say, yeah, up here, I'm checking. I live on this hill over here, so this hill was once the path to a holy place. So the lake is the holy place next to me. So weather's a mug. We got 30, 40-mile winds, but if tomorrow's a little better, I might go over there and see what kind of energy is over there. And then, of course, on the res, great energies. I finally found the place over there. You watch my video when they had the big convention at the reservation, the big powwow, excuse me. Yeah, great energy there. Got to charge up a lot of my stuff. So, well, this is about all I got. This is about all I got tonight. Thank you for joining. Oh my goodness, PJ, I forgot to tell you. So the last game where I went to see the Wolves play, man, we were standing. So we go up on the second floor and we had to meet my brother-in-law, and they came, like we parked in a different ramp and we went through the front. They parked and like came over the top. So the store, damn, we was right there at the store, but where we went in, I think the door was on the other side because I wanted to go there, but it's like we got there at 7, so the game had already started. No, it was right there. Yeah, it was right there, but like we took our because we sat the lower level, and so didn't get to go up in the store. They were selling whatever them colored jerseys was, the hats. They had the hats. It's kind of close to rainbow, but actually the hat with the wolf and that color. I don't remember what that jersey means, but hat was kind of. I saw a couple cats with the hats that night, but I don't know, kind of rainbowish. Not sure. So, okay. Well, what are we? Sapani Catawba through the Heathcocks, and I don't know if I have the names of the other tribes that we are from around New England. Yeah, around Boston, actually. Seachums. Yeah. I'm the 11th generation from Najasat, who died in 1619. He was born in the 1500s in the Boston area. So I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. I'm a little buzzed. But yeah, so I'm the 11th generation from a woodland Indian. And from both sides, Dicey Heathcock, again, Sapani Catawba from North Carolina, Virginia area. Yeah, so that's who I am, baby. Yeah, the Ampies. I am an Ampy. Another name is Wampy. So we in them old records. So I was, taught a long time ago, it was the point where they wanted Indians to be taxed. It became like a social status. That's a good tax man, so they wanted us to get off of being non-taxed. It's like my great grandfather thinking, he was taught to kill, because he was labeled mulatto. So he was taught to, be ashamed of his indigenous roots. Whereas my grandmother was related, she has Apache. She's out of Kentucky. And her brother, we know, was getting money. And he turned down the money, said they didn't need it, not knowing that it's the connection to the land. See, his ego got in the way because his father was raised to, because again, when I talk about lynching and stuff, what Virginia and what a lot of the eastern states started doing is they would damn near kill you. And you can talk to Turtle Gang, he'll tell you the same thing. They were lynching people for saying they were Indian when you were indigenous eastern woodland people. This was the punishment. This is where the lynching started. Because when Plecker wrote us out, that's when a lot of the violence started. You couldn't even say you were Indian. or they would kill you. And so that's where the mulatto, color, these other names come in. I mean, where they, paper genocide people. So I don't have to say it's my people's a myth. We know the name. That's what it is. If you got the names, we got the names. We got the names. We got the tribes of the people. And I'm 11th from Dicey Heathcock. I'm 5 generations from her. Yeah. I'm 4 generations from somebody who fought in the Civil War. My great-great-grandfather fought for Indiana. My great-uncles, 2 of my great-uncles fought for the 54th Massachusetts. And the other relatives that fought for the South. That's how it goes sometimes. So, oh my goodness. So next time I go down there, because I told you before, when we went to that game, it was like we wasn't even gonna go. We was doing something else. It was Thursday night football or Monday night football. So we was getting ready to cook some wings or some shit and watch the football game. Brother was like, hey, y'all want to go to the game? It's like tonight. We didn't realize high school started tonight. Nephew started hooping tonight. He played Prior Lake, where we definitely would have went, but it was like we didn't learn it till 6, with a woman. Come together. Well, thank you. And I'll say this, when I, because, I'm down with the Lakotas people. And, when I went to the powwow, it was powerful. I mean, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I made a mistake going live because their internet sucks on the reservation. I'm gonna admit, when I'm on the reservation, I get terrible internet. So next year when I do it, I'll just record because I tried to go live. But I mean, like they have a circle and the way, like it was different bands there and like different bands, it would be their time to do the drumming and the vibration. And man, I mean, I love that. And if I can get that once a year, I will go join that. I know now I'm going to try to find a way where I can just go to that place because it's a circle. I mean, again, I practice directional energy and I see this circle and they're practicing directional energy as well. So I know this is a PowerPoint. Yeah, I love that kind of thing, And so, I'm not a gambler, but that's available to me. And, it's like, I really think it's a spiritual thing, the way that, where I go play pickleball in Prior Lake is on the reservation land. It's a way that I get to practice the sacred ball game on sacred land, if you understand. When I drive up on these lands, I always thank the Great Spirit, the source, because it's like letting me do. And, pickleball with its twos is like, you twins, you're playing against yourself in a fun competition. Because the game really can't keep going because you all have to cooperate. Even though you try to beat each other, you still have to cooperate to keep the game going. You may get a point on me and I got the ball because I missed it, but I got to grab the ball and throw it back to you to keep the game going. Or I could be a little bitch and stomp the ball and throw it out to place. And do you see and be disruptive? But no, it takes cooperation. So we are really playing against other aspects of ourselves because the hero twins are in all of us. That's why basketball is the most sacred thing there is. And I mean, just from a movement point of reference, I mean, you can take this ball and put it through the sacred hoop and you'll get a reward. What is life but rewards? You can take this ball, no matter which way the hoop is, sideways, upside down, all you got to do is make it and you get your reward. What else life gives you that except sex? Sex is very close. You get it in the hoop and you boom, and you bring it back out the hoop. But other than that, what do you see when you put that ball in there? You need nothing else. As a boy, I never thought about winning championships. Like I hear Magic and other dudes talking about I just enjoyed the moment of putting the ball through the hoop. I never thought the possibility of other things. I always thought that what I loved doing at the moment. Maybe I didn't dream enough, but that never, being somebody else or playing against these dudes way older than me. Why would I think about that? I never thought about that. That was never, and maybe that's what, I never thought about that. Never thought about going up against Kareem. Hell, Kareem got me by what? Kareem in his 70s. He got me about 15, 16 years. I never dreamed like that. So maybe that was my bad. I never thought I'd run I never thought about, what Roger Staubach or Johnny Unitas throwing me a pass. I never dreamed like that. Yeah, Johnny Unitas, I'm catching Johnny. No, that was never me. I used to hoop against niggas. One nigga loved Bernard King. Every time he shot a jumper, he'd say, Bernard. He loved Bernard King so much, every time he played basketball, he'd shoot and say, Bernard. We all have different ways to psych ourselves up. Well, I'm going to catch it. Thank you, guys. Hey, how you doing, man? Hope all is well with you. Oh, my goodness. I got to bring this book upstairs to let you see this. Get a book called Planaki. Get a book called Planaki. They give you some stuff, some omen stuff. But the whole story of Planaki is just beautiful. I'm sorry I didn't bring the book with some pictures from Planaki. I want to give you guys. I want to give you a little omen. I want to give you some omen sigils. Yeah, start giving sigils out. All these other motherfuckers want to write sigils. Let me give you some positive old sigils for sure. Yeah, I'll give those up. But yeah, that book Planaki. Got other books. One book I want you guys to look up, if I can remember the name, is Capitalism as the Surveillance State. Look up that book. Capitalism as the Surveillance State, or Capitalism Surveillance State. I got that coming in hardback. I found that where I work. That's a book well worth, because sometimes I sit and I'll start reading these motherfuckers, these brand new ass books on parchment. Parchment that's why, that's the good thing about softbound books. They're still on parchment, but hardback books is on better parchment. So there's a little different magic. I mean, let me just, this is, okay. I'll show you. This is a type of parchment. Glossy, non-glossy. Do you understand? It's not the same as this. This is a better example. Look at this paper. See how it's almost a yellow look to it? That's parchment. So there's more magic in this. You see the difference? See? One book looks, you see how the parchment is more yellow? You see that? So when you get them books, they tell you to get parchment when you make your sigils. Get parchment. Well, what does he say? The point is, there is no point. Well, you guys know what I say about the mud flood. And yeah, I don't care who hears it. I know Brother Red Wolf, and I think he gets into it, and that was the one thing to turn me off of F&D, whatever the brother's name is, from Chicago. I think he lives in Atlanta, because I like that brother actually, but that mud flood shit is that's enough to turn me away from you, man. That's like this flat plane stuff. You want to live in the flat plane, then you got to admit all of it. I mean, don't talk about flat plane and you don't live it. Because the dogs live in flat plane. There's no denying that. Dog has no consciousness of really up. It's on top. That's how you train dogs. It's on top. You can't really train, well, you can say up to him, but the way they look at it is on top. It's on the bottom or on top or under. A dog can dig under a fence. That's his conception of under. He doesn't know really down. Like he goes down the stairs, he don't really know down like that. They really live in a flat plane kind of thinking. They don't have color. Now they have smell. Smell is very much flat plane. I mean, when I'm a cougar, when I experience being a motherfucking panther and having my terrain of 100 miles, do you know that is flat plane like a motherfucker? Because you can smell Now, I don't know how the curvature of the earth, how that's going to work. But it's parts where you control 100 miles, wherever you control it, if you're a certain animal, and that is flat plane. The way you follow it, if you understand the way flat plane would be. With smell, there's no, I mean, okay, there's no, there's if the trail goes on top, it's the same kind of thing. The trail goes on top, then it's going to have to come back down to the ground eventually. So I think they missed that point, and they don't look at the argument. So it works together in a lot of ways. Again, if you start believing, you live in that shit. I mean, when I talked to that goofy Sanchez, he said he was standing on the flat plane. Okay, well, you only gonna get a certain amount of information. It's just the way it works. You cut yourself off like that, and you only gonna bring in certain information because you've already said this is what I live on. So there's certain stuff. Again, one of the reasons why I play all these sounds and stuff so people can hear me. Because sometimes when I talk to people, it's like I already know they can't hear me. It's like I come from another planet. And I'm not saying I have to level myself down, but I like really have to find out where their vibrations are and then respond to them in that very way. Because you could very well come onto my channel and not really understand what I'm saying. So I try to put the vibration sense. So if you hear that little part, you can really hear what I'm saying. Because sometimes the way this thing is, the way it does it, it tries to make the information foreign to you. Or it tries to strike something in you to bring hate. Because hate gets attention. I know when I would troll people, that shit gets attention. This thing likes when you try to get attention. But what does grown niggas need attention for? I dress the way I dress because I like to wear shit. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. They ain't gonna say I stink because I smell like something good almost all the time. But I did make a mistake the other day. As I said, I got food poisoning over Thanksgiving, or maybe a stomach flu. It seems like it might have been a stomach flu. And I was at work, and a poor lady, we work where I'm putting books away, and a poor lady, I had farted. I was like free and clear and farted. And then the lady comes down looking for a book in my area. I'm putting in books. She's looking to take some out. So I had to vacate the area, and I told her sorry. She thought I was talking about I was sorry I had to move. No, I was sorry that I left a fart back there, and you got to go back there through the fog and find what you're looking for. So I told her sorry. After she found it, her eyes were watering, and, I kind of had to smack her a few times. She came back to her senses, but kind of tried to warn her. Said, the future, you might want a World War I gas mask, with your mustard gas, and you put it on and you go in. Wasn't that bad, but she wasn't prepared. Exactly. Fuck up. That's right. Yeah. Did you go learn about the elders, the legendary, the dog man? A little bit. Not really. Can't really say that was pushed through Michigan. Of course, the Bigfoot being in upper north, that was always an issue with Bigfoot because Michigan and upper peninsula, remember Paul Bunyan was supposed to be from Michigan all the way to Minnesota. So those stories was always there about Paul Bunyan and his ox. So, these giants. So that's a story that has persisted over space time. We don't know why, but it has about giants. Of course, there's European giants. You notice that it's a European giant in the middle of a black continent. So, and that's what's forgotten, that America was a melanated continent. And that's just a fact. And slowly it's been overdone. But this is the land we are on, and we will fight to maintain this land because, like it or not, this is our home. And if they put up enough propaganda, we would try to defend it. But remember, one reason why we need our guns is because, remember Red Dawn. And remember the problem that Red Dawn 1 was the Cubans through the Russians. And what problem did they have? Every block they went down, they got shot at. Red Dawn 2 with the Chinese. Every block they went down, they got shot at. And you want to know why Biden and them want to get rid of assault rifles. It has nothing to do with safety. It has everything to do with agenda and disarming America. It's just simple, that simple. Because every society, once you're disarmed, the government comes and takes over and puts you in camp. And you can look back to Pol Pot and what was done in Cambodia not that long ago, when they literally took all the people that worked in the buildings out and forced them and their families to live out, took them out of their homes and put them in the fields, which was later known as the killing fields, working these people to death under the guise of communists, of the guise of community. The same thing that was done to Stalin when in the 1920s, Stalin tried to kill all the Christians in Germany by starving them to death. Again, you guys think, Russia. You guys think Russia is, they got two countries, Russia and Israel. Them are Jewish faith people up in Russia. The Bolsheviks were Jewish faith people. Trotsky, Stalin. What's the other one? Trotsky, Stalin, Brezhnev, all of them, Jewish faith people. Jewish faith people. The Bolsheviks were a Jewish faith army. So when you had Germany going into Russia, you had what the Tsar, people helping the Tsar, were the Germans who were Catholics against the Jewish faith people in Russia. That's what you saw in Russia. Because they overthrew the Catholic Tsar. Look it up. The Tsar and them was Catholic, like Elizabeth, their cousins and everybody. So, this is a country. They got countries. We'll never forget. They got countries. So, but thank you for Levi's. So, y'all, wow. I'm going to go about 4 minutes more. So, yep, Ashkenazin people. I mean, that's why, Cadden said, the people that come from the caves, and these people get mad. That must mean you come from the caves. If you get mad that he says, well, we know people came from the caves, why would those people get mad? Because that's what Elijah Muhammad exposed when he talked about, Jacob. He talked about the people who was from the caves and they had to teach them that these was, what do they teach in Sumerian? What did they teach you Gilgamesh? What I talk about Bigfoot? They tell you Gilgamesh. What is Gilgamesh's partner name? He was a man beast. And that's what they tried to tell you that was created, with Jacob and the big head, this man beast. That's what these stories tell you. These were men, but beast men. And people had to, the only thing they knew was survival and living in the caves. And these beast men was slowly showed how to be regular people. There was so many of them. This is one of their stories. You can find that anywhere. That these beast men, they didn't even consider these people human, these things human. Why do you think when you ever studied leprosy? They say leprosy came from people eating people? Lepers? You ever studied in that shit? That's tough. Shows you that shit was a lot more prevalent than what you think. Remember what do they call it? Folicide? They trying to say that girl got killed under folicide, or am I wrong? What they used to do in Arabia when they killed baby girls born, because you didn't have a son, it was a girl, they'd kill the girl. So these are some points that you can look up and find for yourself. The beast man. And that's why they got mad at Kyrie, because Kyrie called him the beast man. Beast master. Remember it was a cartoon called Beast Master? Get Tarzan? Tarzan goes into the mud flood? Tartania? That shit is the goofiest shit in the world. These niggas is trying to worship something that Europeans invented to make themselves look aged. And you got niggas falling for this left and right. That mud flood shit is it was debunked in 16. This is how long ago motherfuckers do real research. That shit went away in 16. And niggas, PNF, he's the first one that I knew. And then Rob Bay, she's on Facebook. I'm one of her friends. I got all these books in the mud flood. lady, take it easy. This ain't our history. This is their made up shit. And you niggas is falling for this shit. That is the most ridiculous thing. I just don't understand. How are you falling for stuff that makes them look ancient? That ain't connected to you melanated people. They ain't bringing this stuff back because part of it tells you that Manhattan was full of mansions and only European people knew to dig them up. That's part of the mud flood story. That these mansions in Manhattan was buried and had free energy, and only Europeans, when the Europeans came, not the Dutch, which was the first Europeans to go in Manhattan, but later Europeans in the 1920s, they discovered it. They was the only ones that's like, hey, we digging this shit. Man, it's some shit down there. Come on, let's go dig this shit. God damn, look, it's more. They keep digging and man, we can live in there. That's what y'all believe in. Study it enough. That's part of the story. All you mud flood people, that is part of the story. That they want you to believe it was mansions on Manhattan and only 20th century Europeans could dig them up. That's the story they got you niggas talking. Rob Bay, whatever the fuck your name is, and Red Wolf, you my friend. Call me. I see you've been liking my stuff. But you misleading people, bro. You misleading people, and all y'all on that mud flood shit, y'all misleading people. That shit's been dead. So why give it energy? I don't get that. I even hate talking about that shit. That's right. That's right. All of them made up. There he goes. So, in Yadabath, that's the God. That's the shit that runs this reality. Quantum science don't go that deep. Yadabath, that's what his name is. That's who run this. We live in its kingdom. We live in two things that came together, the Mai and Yadabath. That is the technology. You had the techno god and you had the biochemical god. They came together. That's what runs our reality. Magic is this tech. Magic is this. This ain't no real shit. This ain't no technology. This is magic. This is the negative magic. Really is. The way it's used, this magic is negative. But this is magic. Ooh, Keelan Hayes just went off for a season high. The Magnus on Kid's absolute bum. Can't shoot a rocket to the ocean. That's how they do it. Cleveland in the 1980s, a lot of fake pictures. Yeah. That's a lot of the nation. It's like some, a lot of the mud flood pictures come from really when they was digging into the mounds. I've seen a lot of mud flood pictures. They try to say, well, they're discovering this town. I'm like, no, they're taking away mounds. And that's what a majority of them in America, when you especially look in the Midwest, you're seeing them destroying mounds. I mean, Wisconsin at one point had the most mounds in the world. It was like 4 mounds every mile. So they destroyed them. It was a state of mounds. And this is after the glacier shit. When the Europeans went in there, everybody's land had mounds on it. Even today, you still see some of this left over. Even coming here, we our downtown is damn near the border's only 30 miles from our downtown, St. Paul or Minneapolis. So the area where the mounds is damn near, 15, 20 miles from the border of Wisconsin. So some of that shit went into here. So it's a holy area up there. I've showed look at my videos up there. That area is very holy, very sacred area. So this is energy. If you live near, you can visit, touch into it, because there's a lot of energy built for you. So the Midwest was built like the Britain of the 20th century. I'll say it was built like that once the Europeans came, and yeah. Look at Chicago. Yeah, Chicago and London. Yeah, you could definitely say that. Yeah, you could definitely say that. Chicago and London, Detroit, London, New York. Look at New York. I would say New York was built more like Amsterdam, though, because they called it New Amsterdam. But if you look at some of Amsterdam architectures in the streets, New York was built somewhat like that. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Well, I'm going to have to go. I'm going to plant you now and dig you later. Oh, but go back and look up the books. Gosh, this book is such a great book. You like, just history of sports. Um, some of these pictures are just magnificent. And even if you buy this book or give it for a gift, what is this book? It's not very expensive. $26, $20 in the US, $20. So every aspect of it. The first time you read about the Negro Leagues, they tell you it's a book called, you might want to look up, it's called Only the Ball Was White. It's a book wrote in the late 60s, early 70s. It's the first book I ever read about the Negro Leagues. Only the ball was white. I mean, this shit is just, I got this jersey and hat. I just love this kind of thing, y'all. And yet he injects his own style. Looks how, got the brother looking bigger than life. Look how he puts the shorties, Really cool. Really cool. So I don't know what you like, I love this kind of stuff. Well, I was trying to figure out, they are calling an area in Dayton, Ohio, New Chicago. Oh, why they're calling an area in Dayton, Ohio, New Chicago, I don't know. Man, I don't know. I mean, Battle Creek, Michigan was always called Little Detroit because of the violence. The violence was always there. Battle Creek is only an hour from Detroit, and the violence is pretty high. It always was. Even when I lived there, always was. So, well, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I've been your super funky host, Big Pontiac. Thank you for joining. For those of you watching in the future, thank you. Till we meet again, say less.